Welcome, everyone, to this second episode of the Hot Corner podcast. Today, we have three more topics we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to start off with Alex's topic. Alex's topic is going to be basically about how great the depth is this year in the NBA. Seeing guys who didn't even play last year come in and fill in huge roles, how successful those bottom feeding teams are, and everything like that, how fun it is to watch. Just kind of our opinion on this year of the NBA. Second topic is going to be Tyler's topic, talking about the officiating and how we think there needs to be some changes and some liability to the officiating. Too many texts that are being called for ticky-tack emotions and stuff like that. We're professionals. We need to show emotion. If we don't show emotion, then there's something wrong with the sport. The third topic is going to be my topic. We're going to be talking about the Giannis and Montrezl Harrell situation, just giving our opinions on it and just seeing where everything goes. After that, we're just going to go through a final recap of the week on the NBA and talk about some teams that exceeded expectations, didn't exceed expectations, and then some Timberwolves recap. See you then. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty, now we're going to hop into Alex's topic here of Alex, where he's going to talk about the craziness of this year in the NBA.
Yo, yeah. I just kind of wanted to take my little segment and kind of talk about just how wild like the season has been so far. I don't remember everything in the chronological order, but I'll try my best to kind of do it in that way. First, you had the two massive trades. You had the Rudy Gobert trade, had the Donovan Mitchell trade, which were two just insane trades, like still kind of are, and the jury's going to be out on if they're beneficial or not. Um, you had the Nets drama going on, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Ben Simmons, all of that stuff. That's still going on. I think Irving might play tonight, if I recall.
Yeah, he's supposed to make his debut either tonight or their next game coming up. I know his 10 games are up though.
Okay, yeah. So you had that. You had the Draymond Green accident and his documentary that he aired, I guess, which is still just absolutely insane to me that had happened. And then like even just during the season, like the Utah Jazz are just taking off. Nobody would have expected it. A lot of people thought the Wolves are going to be good, and we're kind of struggling right now at 8-8. And the Warriors too. Like the Warriors are what 0-8 on the road or some shit like that. Like it so far this has just been the most exciting 6 months of the NBA that I can recall in quite a while.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I know the huge trades of Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, big key free agent signings, and all in all, just looking at the standings, I haven't pulled up right now. You have Utah leading the West still, Boston leading the East. Milwaukee's catching up. Milwaukee was ahead, but Boston's taking a few more games. Memphis is second right now, even with Ja out, they're still playing pretty well, which they did that last year. So, the question I wanted to bring up is, what do you think? Out of all that craziness that kind of happened, which one was the most impactful? To me, it was the Golden State one. You can just see that there's not much, connection blending right now. They're not playing the young guys. Jordan Poole and Steph Curry play the exact same game. So there's no difference for the defense when Steph's out there or when Jordan Poole's out there. Um, so I've just noticed that their downward trend right now. I still believe they're going to be top five in the West. They're going to bring it back. Steph's the best point guard in the league right now. So um, I'll see them coming back, but it's pretty crazy just how bad their defense has been, how mediocre the offense has been. Klay Thompson's not producing. Draymond Green is doing his thing, and Steph's doing his thing. But other than that, there's not really many key pieces out there.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like now they're sending Wiseman down to the G League. Jordan Poole's not been playing as well as a lot of people thought that he would have. Wiggins is kind of struggling. Klay Thompson, I saw recently he just put up 20 in the first quarter just a little bit ago. So respect there, but I mean he's been struggling the whole time too. And just watching that team, there's no like that old fluid Warriors offense where you couldn't keep up on defense because they would just make all these extra passes and Now it kind of seems like that's kind of cracking a little bit.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And then the whole KD thing, in my opinion, um, I mean, it sucks. There was a lot of I want to get traded. I don't want Steve Nash being the coach, which is not the coach anymore. Jock Vaughn has done really well with everything, handling the players, being a very um, internal coach. Because you can tell, like when you watch the Nets game, I watched the Nets versus Portland game, and he's standing the whole time. He's not sitting. He's literally pacing back and forth, getting everyone checked in, making sure they're up, ready to go to play. He's challenging calls that should be challenged. And a lot of coaches don't do that very often. So he's very interactive, which I'm glad. I know originally I wanted Ime Udoka, but I think Jock Vaughn's kind of handling the throne right now pretty well.
I can't comment a whole lot. I haven't watched a lot of their stuff, but I mean, they're looking a little bit better sans that Kings game last week. But hopefully everything will kind of get situated with Kyrie and those guys will kind of gel because it would be fun to watch and see what that trio really could do.
All in all, with all the craziness, I mean, there's many teams that I like watching this year. Um, for me, I love watching Sacramento and I love watching the Nets because I want to see the Nets succeed. Who are your guys' like top watch teams that you always go to just to watch on League Pass?
Hmm. I would have to say this year, I always liked watching the Clippers. I mean, with or without Kawhi, because watching PG do a lot of stuff on his own is just like what he can do over defenders is just insane. And he's playing at a top caliber, especially after his injury. And it just seems like he's just been like top tier. And I think it's just exciting to watch him play in many different roles, whether he's playing in a guard spot or a forward spot, and being a facilitator. And I mean, they're they're 10-7 right now without Kawhi. And who else do the Clippers, really have for big names? So I mean, watching them play as I mean, they've always been like a, a real like good playoff team, but it's just I like watching one person run the floor and trying to help out other people as well as like add add to your own stat line as well. And I feel like I mean it's either between the Clippers or the Kings because you either got one person facilitating like a whole team, or you got a team that's clicking that has never been like above 500 or even like considered a you know playoff team. So it's like to me, I like watching like either or in a sense, especially this year.
It's funny. I think the Kings, the last time they were actually competitive, I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember that year, the Wolves? I think this was the year with Jimmy Butler where they were playing against the Nuggets for the eighth and ninth seed, and they had to beat the Nuggets to get the eighth seed. And right underneath them, just a game away, were the Kings at the 10th seed. That's the last time they've been competitive. Ever since then, I think that was De'Aaron Fox's first year, but they have Marvin Bagley, who is now gone. They didn't have Kevin Herter. They didn't have all that depth that they have now. They didn't have Sabonis. They had Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, and that was about it. So I'm glad to see their success. I know I like the one team I also like watching, and they're kind of a bottom team, but they play competitively, is just San Antonio. So shout out to Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson for carrying the offensive load, and Jakob Poeltl hopefully getting traded at the trade deadline to a contending team because he deserves it. So
Yeah, that in LA too. I like watching LA just for the fact of watching LeBron suck. Like about damn time, he's like Tom Brady. You just gotta retire already. God,
we already know
it's
your hot takes with
irritating.
having to put down as
Yeah.
LeBron James being the most disappointing player in episode one. So now we're gonna have to say LeBron James just officially sucks.
LeBrick. That's who he is.
So, Alex, who are your favorite teams to watch? I know you're a pretty diehard Timberwolves fan, but is there any other teams you like going out and watching?
Right now, my main would be Dallas. It's kind of a corny answer, but Luka's just so goddamn good. And I really didn't watch a lot of his stuff the past 2 years, and um, I made it a priority to watch a good chunk of his games to see a little bit more of what he does that aren't highlights, some of the intangibles. Um, and Spencer Dinwiddie, I love watching him play. He's like he could easily be a top 10 point guard in the league if he got the minutes, I think. But the other team that I like watching is the Atlanta Hawks, just because I didn't think DeJounte Murray and Trey
Young.
Trae
oh,
Young.
Trey Young. That's right. Why was I thinking Trey Hill? Yeah,
I'm Trey
I
Old.
didn't. Yeah, probably. Uh, I didn't think those two would really do a whole lot together. Kind of conflicting uh, ball styles. Both very ball dominant, but it's kind of cool to see that working out, even though they're shooting like 28% from three or something like that.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that shoots a very or a high amount of threes with a very low percentage of making them, and that's due to Trae Young. When you take that many threes, I think he's averaging like 6 or 7, maybe even more threes a game. You're gonna miss, like you're gonna have a low percentage. So, I know when it comes to playoff times, Ice Trae is pretty good, and I love watching him too in the playoffs. But I think DeJounte Murray has to be my favorite player because I have him on my fantasy team, and he's fucking carrying right now. So, same with Kevin Durant. So, well, with all that being said, we'll hop into topic 2 with Tyler here. Tyler, talk a little bit about the officiating this year and how piss poor we've seen it be the past few
Soft.
weeks.
How soft it's been. Can't even clap your hands. Can't even say anything. You can't even want. First of all, this is America, right? We have the freedom of speech. We get to say what we want, especially in a basketball game. So why are you calling text on someone who is just expressing their feelings for the love of the game? There should be no reason as to why you should be called up just for like uh um who's that dude on the Spurs who had that insane dunk
Oh,
and he got like slapped.
The
Yeah.
Josh Sochan.
Yeah, when he dunked and he got slapped in the face. Like if I got slapped on the face and then like they didn't call it or anything like that, that's kind of a miscue on how the league is going today. Like you can't even go up straight up like defending a layup or anything like that without getting called on something. So I feel like it's just like I get like the player's health and concern and whatnot, but it's basketball. It's what you do. If you're going up to the lane and trying to, do a layup or something like that, you're taking that risk. So obviously, I understand it's been changing. Like I know the rule from James Harden when he would take like a three or something like that, and he would try to land on the person's foot or something like that to get that call. I understand why they changed that and they're looking out for that, but now it just seems like it's getting out of hand and everything's so soft nowadays.
I gotta apologize. I said Josh Sochan. I was thinking of Josh Richardson. His name's actually Jeremy. um,
Jeremy, Josh,
Jeremy,
good
Josh,
cuddle.
yeah, you're in the same ballpark.
I think
Yeah.
what Tyler's trying to get at too is these players, they have a constitutional right to express their feelings. We should be reviewing all this bull crap
I
of technical fouls. This is their constitutional right to say whatever they want, to express their feelings. Get the rule book out of here and just
For the love of the damn game, it's a basketball game. There's going to be feelings expressed.
I love the fact I'm very thankful that I was muted that whole time because I couldn't control my laughter. I'm like, I literally looked over to Carly and I'm like, this guy's comparing officiating with First Amendment rights.
I
Well,
mean,
damn it. I mean,
that's the
it's
love
the
of the
game.
game.
Okay,
You
yeah,
don't see
sure, yeah,
stuff
you're
like
right.
that going on in Europe, China, Japan, Croatia. I don't know, Australia.
It,
You name it. I
it,
don't know.
you name it.
Yeah.
It definitely happens, but we don't care because it doesn't get broadcasted out there. But even Luca, no, the good point about that, Luca thinks the NBA is easier now than it was when he was back in Europe. Like he thinks it's easier to play in the NBA than it was in Europe because you're playing with grown men fouling all the time. You don't get as many fouls. And I know we talked about this last night when we were in game chat. If you have a name for yourself, if you're a 20-point per game scorer, you're getting those calls. We talked about it, the Timberwolves game last night. Embiid made 5 field goals, went to the line and shot 20 free throws. How many points did he have total, Alex?
I believe that was a 32.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I like Embiid. I always supported Embiid, but and I know part of your job is to get to the free throw line. That those are easy buckets. You need to get to the free throw line. If some dude has 20 free throws, I think you need to look at the box score and go, wow, this dude got a shit ton of fouls. We need to calm it down.
And it should be noted too, Cat nor Gobert fouled out either. So like it was everybody getting a call. Jordan McLaughlin, J Mac, Noel, like Nas Reed. Literally everybody fouled that guy.
To me, there's just a very low, there's just no liability for the officiating. They have literally told us after games, 2 games so far, that the officiating got the wrong call and it affected the winning score. If we look back at the Kings Warriors game, Klay Thompson fouled Kevin Herter while he was shooting his 3-pointer. That tied the game going into OT that time. Like, come on. That's got to,
Twice. They said Klay Thompson fouled him twice on that one possession.
there has to be a change. I know they do reviewing, and the one sport that does this the best is baseball because there's a lot of critics on umpiring and the automatic umpiring system. They review umpires every single game. How many of these refs get reviewed? Because I can tell you this, they're taking their bag and running with it after they get a game. Because what's the point? As long as the NBA is still an oiled machine of these teams are good for a reason, they're winning games for a reason. Why are the teams that don't get the calls, like why aren't they going to the commissioner and being like, we need to start watching this stuff?
So I got two things. So first of all, the biggest one, I think if sports betting wasn't a thing, I don't think it would be an issue because Vegas is trying to make money. So they're obviously going to take like the best outcome to save their ass for the outcome, and instead of spewing out a whole butt ton of money, they're gonna they're gonna officiate around the
The line.
I've never, yeah, I've never sports bet before, so I don't know what it entails. But all I know between like social media and actually watching the game is there's a lot of hidden secrets that a lot of people don't know about, and they're going to dictate. I know there was, I'm going to throw college football in here just for a second. Like, there was, I think it was like Penn State or something like that, where it was literally they had a chance to either win or tie the game. And it was like there was like 2 seconds left. They just had to kick a field goal. He missed the first field goal, and then the refs called like some offsides or something like that. And then they got a redo. And then they missed again, and then they had another redo. And then he finally got it, and it's all fine and dandy. So I think sports betting is affecting like different games. It's just corrupt, I think, in my mind. And especially watching, like when you're actually like watching the game, with like league pass, it shows you like the timeouts and everything like that. They'll have an occasional game break and whatnot. But when you're actually watching the game and you think, and you're actually like watching all like the illegal screens for one, two is just like outweighing the whole league because it's like you can't even set a screen without getting called on it. Like you flinch and it's an illegal screen. I just think it's just absurd. I I don't know.
I know it's
Just
part
think
of the
it's
game
getting out
of
of
like
hand.
if you're setting a screen and the guy that's running into you makes contact with you and your feet aren't fully set, then it's an illegal screen because your feet came off the ground. You're doing a moving screen. I was watching the Spurs game against who did they just play a couple nights ago? Shoot,
Jesus Christ, I literally
they were playing against, but Jeremy Sochan, we were just talking about him. He set a screen, and the point guard who was trying to go over the screen made contact with him, and his feet
yep,
weren't wide enough for him to stay put. That is ridiculous to me.
yeah,
Just because his feet aren't wide enough to make a big enough base for him to stay put, they're calling a foul on that. What do you want this
yeah,
dude to do? He's setting a non-moving screen. He's not moving, but he moves when he gets the contact. Like I just don't get it, man. Like if you're gonna
yeah,
they've been allowing offensive players to drive their body into the defender to make the layup and get the and one call, but you can't soak up a hit and move your feet. Like, nah,
yeah.
that's insane.
That's the thing too. Like you have to run around a screen. Like the dude who's standing there is obviously going to be a big man most of the time. So it's like when you set a screen for a guard and you have Kyle Lowry, who apparently is like a fucking wet noodle whenever he makes contact with someone, and he's running around it, and then all of a sudden there's this 7 footer, and then he like doesn't even make contact. He hits his arm or something like that, and then he's like, oh, and then they call it. It's like you should be able to know when someone is selling out or something. I just think it's
Yeah,
stupid.
there's too many fouls being called these last 2 weeks, too many techs getting called. These lower teams aren't getting the benefit of the doubt. These teams that are higher up in the standings are getting these calls, like Philadelphia that got a lot of calls. And that's not to say I hate Philadelphia. Their team's good. They have a well-structured team, and I want them to succeed. I want the NBA to be successful. The problem is it's constant. It's the same thing over and over and over again. We need change. I know the pace is still relatively high. I know the offensive scoring is still relatively high, but the reason why it's so high is because so many people are going to the line. These guys are professional basketball players. Most of them aren't going to miss their free throws. And another thing that makes me mad is when they decide if it's a floor foul or if it's a shooting foul. If he is in motion, it's a shooting foul. But it has to be a reasonable motion. It can't be he receives the ball and he just jumps around with his hands up. That's not a shooting foul. That is a floor foul. Like they were yesterday when we were watching the Timberwolves game, Noel did the same thing. Or no, it was Kyle Anderson. They called a floor foul on Kyle Anderson when he was spot up shooting. Like, give it to him. Slow mo ain't gonna shoot that thing real fast. So obviously it was a shooting foul. So that's all I got for officiating. If you guys want to keep chipping in on it, or
There was one thing I heard a few years ago that I thought was a really interesting idea, and somebody had proposed, like, all right, let's get rid of either the charge or the blocking foul. That way, there can be no like, okay, well, are his feet set? Was he in the restricted area or not? It like kind of negates that nebulous, ambiguous like foul call because there's a lot of times where you're looking at it and it could legitimately go either way. So either make it a foul or don't make it a foul.
I don't really have anything to say about charging the charge fouls and blocking fouls because that's what I'm saying. So ticky tack fouls.
Yep.
Like, did he set his feet? Did he not? Or is he in the perimeter of it or not? Like, how am I supposed to know? Like, just
Right.
because he's standing there doesn't mean I know if he said it or not. It's the same
Yep.
thing with the legal screens. So,
Agreed. Big time.
well,
Yeah,
you got something to add?
not really. No, it's fine. Just start popping off again. I don't know. I just okay. All right. So say hypothetical right now.
No, not really. I'm
So
fine.
shut up. So let's say me and Alex are professional basketball players, and it's like we're both let's say I'm like Patrick Beverly and he's like Jason Tatum or something like that, and I'm going up against him, and I got my hands on him and whatnot, and like I'm playing spot up defense, and he tries to blow past me, and I knock the ball out, all clean, and the refs call a reaching foul, and then I express my feelings towards the ref, and then they're going to give me a tech, a flagrant, you name it. They're just going to give me a foul. The fact that you can't even go and talk to a ref without them getting butt hurt and saying he can't talk to me like that, that's not acceptable. If you're going to call some BS foul and you can't even get talked to, like I said, we're grown. It's a grown men league. Obviously, there's the grit and grind aspect of it, and you can't even express your feelings without the refs getting mad for no reason. Like
It's a power hungry aspect. They have the title. They can say whatever they want because they know they have the authority to. So
yeah, which is stupid. They're the ones playing the game. You're literally just sitting there blowing your fucking whistle, tee up, because you're being a fucking stupid, dumb little sissy puss.
good
Just
choice of
because I'm
words
having a
there.
bad day, my wife cheated on me, so I'm going to take my anger out on national television.
How do you really feel about officiating?
I hate it. It's stupid.
I
Have
can
you ever
tell.
officiated something before, Tyler?
I have
What?
soccer. And let me tell you, when it comes to me, I ain't no bitch about it. Oh, boo-hoo, you got pushed over and you're going to look for a call. Not my fucking problem. You're a fucking, you should get known how to get thrown around. I, that sounded
My
terrible.
God, we're throwing around
It's
kids here, man.
like obviously soccer guy has its bad raps, but I'm like, come on, man, stand the fuck up. Don't
Yeah,
be don't be a little pussy.
speaking of soccer and corruption, huh? FIFA,
You know what? I'm excited to watch World Cups. Shut up.
It's not a
huh?
real sport, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, why is it called the World Cup? What does baseball have? The World Series
It's
where it's
called
only
the
in
World
America?
Cup because it's part everyone from the world plays it, but it's not a real
Yeah,
sport.
exactly. So it's a bigger sport. Sport.
America's pastime right here, buddy.
Yeah, that's America's. This is the
Actually, if I
world's.
may step in, bowling's America's pastime.
Yeah. Oh, what do we used to do? Throw watermelons down a fucking gravel road to hit fucking trees. Oh.
We're gonna hop into topic three after that long session of talking about officiating. I just want to talk about the Giannis thing that happened with Montrezl Harrell and the 76ers. Just a little recap. The Bucks traveled to Philadelphia for a game, and the Bucks lost pretty handedly, I think, right? It wasn't a very
They lost by 8. I watched the first like 2.5 quarters. Milwaukee looked really good, and then I guess according to like Reddit, uh, Philly went on a really like big run in the last few minutes of the fourth to secure it.
yeah, I understand Embiid had a very good game. But what we want to get into is after the game, Giannis had a terrible free throw shooting game. He decided he wanted to put up some free throws after the game, and he was just doing his thing. Giannis has been in the past relatively a very nice guy. He has a good image. And again, if you lose a game, you're gonna be angry. You're gonna be pissed. So what happened was is he was shooting some free throws. Montrezl Harrell comes in, and to I guess our what he was expressing was he wanted to work out after the game. And Giannis was like, "Oh, I just want to get a few more shots in," and Montrez wasn't having it. Stole the ball after he shot it and just sat there and watched him the whole time until he left. So then Giannis went back to the locker room, grabbed a different basketball, went to the other side of the court. And when he was shooting his free throws, the stadium managers that work in Philadelphia were, I think, taking down something for the hoop or switching out the court or whatever they were doing. And Giannis was pissed. He threw the ladder that was in front of him and told the dude to get out of his way. And I understand the frustration. there's two sides you can look at it. You can look at it as Giannis's point of view, where these no one's using the court afterwards. Even if you have to switch it out, you have a full day to switch it out. Like, let me put up some shots. It won't take 2 hours. It's going to take maybe an hour. Let me put up some free throws. Let me be who I want to be. That's the MVP mentality. We always praised Kobe for saying, I'm going to put up a shit ton of shots after the game because I didn't shoot 100%. So he wants to do the same thing. That's an MVP mentality. There's another point of view of if Montrezl Harrell really did have a workout and they told him he could do some workouts after the game and Giannis wouldn't move, I'd be pretty mad too. I'd say, hey, get the hell out of here. This is my home court. This isn't yours. Go back to the hotel, cry about it, and do your thing. I'm gonna be on Giannis's side because not only do I agree with the whole mentality, Kobe mentality that I like to say, but he's not a dick. He hasn't been a dick at all. And I very hard to believe that Giannis is like, no, I don't want you to work out. Like, no, let me put up a few more shots, then you can work out. You have access to this court. I don't. Like, let me put up some shots. So I just wanted to get your guys' take from it.
I think this whole thing is just silly, and that's why I love the NBA this year, is because all this stuff is just so it's just catty fucking NBA drama. Yeah, I side with Giannis. If he wants to shoot after, who just let him fucking shoot. Like you average what 4 minutes? You're not gonna actually practice. You don't get any playing time. Like and to from the accounts that I read, Giannis even offered like, all right, yeah, let's shoot. I apologize if you already mentioned that. I was kind of zoning out, but yeah, like Giannis is like, yeah, come on over, like let's do some drills. And Montrez is like, nah.
I think for um like for me, like if I was like a big star and like you won your home game and like are you gonna go celebrate or are you just gonna like dick off and um just like celebrate with your team and whatnot? For Giannis, I feel like there's always going to be two sides of the story that kind of that you don't get to really see. And like I respect the fact that he wants to go shoot, but the fact that he was trying to push over the ladder as they were trying to work, so they say. I mean, that kind of puts a bad image on yourself already that you aren't even at your own court, that you're trying to take shots after you lost. You had 15 field goal or free throw attempts. Understandable why you want to work on it, but I mean, it's not your court and the workers are trying to work. So, I mean, if it could have waited, I think the whole interaction between the two is kind of petty and it's very unnecessary. Like, there's so many ways that could have went about it. Like, Philadelphia has a training facility. I feel like there's no need that you need to be playing on your own court for a workout after a game when you have access to a training facility. So I feel like I can't really take a side. If Giannis was at home and he did as bad as he did at the line in Philly, I feel like it would be a little different. But I just think the whole thing is just petty and it could have been easily avoided. But obviously, like he he pushed the ladder away. So I mean, that's kind of a dick move by him, but I don't know.
Just a high school drama for some 27, 28-year-old men. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me rephrase with what I said. I sided on Giannis's side for the Montrez thing, because he has been a nice guy. But yeah, Tyler is right. If there's a worker there and he's doing his job, I know you're angry. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to respect people doing their job. They're there. That game ended at like 10 o'clock. That dude is still there. Like, let him do his job. Go back to your hotel, go relax, sit on it, go to the plane, go back home, go get some shots the next day. One, I understand, like I said, the whole Kobe mentality, that's great. You can still get your shots up the next day. You're not
Yeah.
losing the benefit of the doubt of getting him that night, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that's,
I mean, he's only human.
yeah, and I understand too. You get frustrated. This is a professional game. Like, even for me, who, when we were playing baseball in college, like it's D3, it's not, not the highest ranked baseball in the world. I got mad. I had bad days. I had good days, and I wanted to go train afterwards. But like you said, there's a training facility. Go wake up early in the morning and go to the training facility. That's what it's there for. I bet you your coach is going to be like, my player just wanted to get some shots up. Hell yeah, let's go open this up for him. This is my MVP player. He needs to do that. It's just ridiculous the fact that this is something that came out. And the one thing that really makes me mad is the fact that they're they're talking about Montrezl Harrell like he he shouldn't have said anything at all. And it's
Mm-mm.
like, and they're saying, you're just a bench warmer, you're a third string center, you get 10 minutes a game, 4 points per game, you ain't shit. Like, it doesn't matter your role. If there's a rookie that wanted to work out afterwards, like a two-way guy, he's earning a job right now. That is what
Yeah.
Montrez is doing. He is earning his job right now. He's going to get cut in the next 2 weeks if he doesn't get his workouts and doesn't perform. I understand completely getting mad at that. Like, you're a dude who got dropped by Charlotte. No one wanted you throughout the whole offseason, was a last minute pickup for Philadelphia for depth piece. You aren't playing that well. You're not playing the same Montrezl Harrell that played 4 years ago with the Clippers as a as the six man. Like, it's just really annoying seeing the fact that this guy's trying to make a name for himself again and get his job back. And he's just getting into arguments now with another grown man. It's high school drama. It's stupid. Grow up, both of them. You're an MVP. You're a professional basketball player. Stop trying to argue with a coworker or a worker for the stadium and stop arguing with another dude who's just trying to get some shots up. And I understand, like, if you asked him, hey, you want to get some shots up? Fuck no. I don't want to shoot with another dude there that on my own court. I do that at the
Mhm.
YMCA. If I want to shoot, I don't want to shoot on the same side as some other guy. Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah. That's annoying, first of all.
Yeah, because then you trying to do some post work or something because he's a post player. He's trying to do some post work, and this dude's shooting free throws. You make one spin move to the front side of the rim, and that ball comes back at you because we know for a fact that Giannis bricks them free throws, so that shit's coming right back at you. It's frustrating. Something that just could be avoided super, super easily. Well, that's all of our opinions on the Giannis thing, and unfortunately, I mean, it's whatever. It's gonna happen. Like, there's nothing you can do about it now. It's in the past. So, one thing I did want to talk about is just recapping throughout the week. I know, like I said, I watched the Nets and Trailblazers game when I had some free time, and I wasn't waking up early in the morning the next day, and that was a really fun game to watch. I think the Nets are finally kind of gelling their team a little bit more. And unfortunately, I think when Kyrie comes back, it's not going to be the same. I think there's going to be a little road bump again, and then they're going to come back and struggle. Another thing I wanted to point out, guys who aren't playing, Jay Crowder's still not playing. They're supposed to trade him soon, and I heard there's a three-team trade coming around in Phoenix, so hopefully he gets traded to Chicago. Please, for the love of God, we need someone like that on our team.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
Chicago is been very bad.
Chicago does
There's
not look good.
They're 6-10, shooting poorly from the field. DeMar DeRozan hasn't looked the same that he did last year, which is fine because last year's DeMar was kind of a one-hit wonder DeMar, I feel like. Like, we know he's a good player, but he's not that good. He wasn't that good in Toronto or San Antonio. Um, Levine's still Levine. Can't play defense, but he can shoot, he can finish, he can facilitate, do a little bit of everything. So I know Timberwolves, like we talked about, came off that big win against Philadelphia. They're 8-8
Yeah,
now.
without James Harden.
And
No
Tyrese
surprising.
Maxey.
and Tyrese Maxey.
Okay, well, James Harden. So
Yeah,
Fair enough.
that's fine. That
You know what's it's kind of funny that Philadelphia actually missed the game tying, the actually game winning layup because they only won by 1 point. They missed the game winning layup. So
who did?
I don't know.
D'Anthony Melton, he missed a wide open, or not wide open, but he was getting contested by, he stole the ball from Anthony Edwards. He drove
Oh,
down the
that
court.
that play. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, he drove down the court. He got a little contested from Anthony Edwards at the rim, but completely missed it. And Cat came in and grabbed the rebound.
Somebody
So
was saying that Edwards actually got a hand on the ball, but I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. I maybe we should take a look at that later. But Utah still leading, like we talked about earlier. They're playing well. They just came off a win against one of the big teams, I thought. I think they played Portland. I think they
Yeah,
beat
they
Portland.
beat Portland.
So Portland's also looked good. I like how Portland has looked.
Dame is going to be out for a little bit of time. I think they're saying they needed an MRI his calf.
Who?
Dame.
Oh, I thought you said Davis. I'm like, who's Davis?
No.
But yeah, Portland's looked good. And who do you guys think is going to take the biggest leap coming in to these next few weeks as a team wise, getting a huge stack of wins, in my
Okay,
opinion.
see,
You think OKC? I'm gonna say New Orleans.
That's a good one. Uh, I I'm going to say the Wolves. I'm going to remain
why?
optimistic on them.
We
Oh
talked about this
God.
last night, and there's a lot of people speculating that we are on a 3 game win streak. They're gonna hit their hot streak now. They're gonna take up to at least fourth or third or fourth in the West, and then we'll have our downward spiral to go eighth. So another team
And
that has been playing really well is Washington.
Yeah,
They
Chris
have
Traps.
they have no all-stars on their team. Bradley Beal, I don't think is playing, is he?
Yeah, he's back now.
Okay.
He
Um,
just came back like a game or two.
the Booze Cruise, Kyle Kuzma, he's offensively carrying that team, and he keeps telling them to run the offense through him. So I think he's right. He's onto something. LA could have had that, but they said hell to the nah.
I don't know. I don't
How's
know. I think OKC could really pull some out. If Josh Giddey starts hitting the gritty a little bit more, like in depth, not hit it like a white man, I think we'll be
S
fine.
dude, I was looking at some stats. SGA has been unreal.
Hasn't he been like over like the past, what was it, like 8 games or something like that? He's like averaging like 30 plus points or something like that, or he's in
Yeah.
like the 40s or something.
Right now he's carrying the team to some wins. They're still 12th in the West, but they're 7-9. They're way better than we thought. They lost Chet, so they don't have their key rookie player. I think this team is two pieces away from being unbelievable. They can keep, I mean, I understand you might trade SGA. You need to keep him. He might be expensive. He's one of the best guards in the league. I think he's a top 5 shooting guard in the league right now. You need to keep him.
I feel
We've
like
been
OKC was already like kind of like in a I don't want to say rebuilding, but their team is rather young. So it's like you don't want to. Obviously, you have good players that you could trade for, but you just want to see their potential get tapped in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see them wanting to trade for or sell anyone. You might sell the older pieces like Mike Muscala and stuff like that, but let these guys develop the whole time. Keep them together. I know Lou Dort has been underperforming for them, but he's stepping up a little bit more and he's been getting paid a lot. But let this team play together for 3 to 4 years. They would make a running. I believe it.
Have a chance. It's going to be exciting going down the road. Like this year has just been something else. Like
So that wraps up this episode of the Hot Corner podcast. Next week, we'll try to get the episode out on Sunday. This one's coming out on Monday, but um, we'll let you guys know. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I know it's going to be a good time, and we'll see you guys later.